Today we're looking at the sinking of the Lusitania. Hello, welcome to the Daily Bellringer. Please don't forget to subscribe and take a look at the questions down in the description. Also, don't forget to check out dailybellringer.com where you'll find more resources that go with many of the Bellringer videos. On May 7th, 1915, a German U-boat fired a single torpedo at the RMS Lusitania, a British passenger ship. Within 18 minutes, the ship sunk, claiming nearly 2,000 lives of the civilians on board the ship. This act of war by the German Navy would bring the United States to the brink of entering World War I. The RMS, which RMS stands for Royal Mail Ship, meaning a sea vessel that carries mail for the British Royal Mail Service, but the RMS Lusitania was a large British passenger ship that made its maiden voyage in September of 1907 from Liverpool, England to New York City. The name Lusitania referred to a province of the Roman Empire. At the time when the ship first sailed, it was the largest passenger vessel in the world, measuring 787 feet long and could carry almost 2,200 passengers. The ship was built in Scotland and was billed as one of the most luxurious ocean liners on the water, offering first-class accommodations and facilities on board the ship. Over the next 8 years, the Lusitania made 201 voyages from Liverpool, England to New York, making the trip very quickly in an average of 4 to 5 days. In February of 1915, as World War I was entering its second year, Germany declared that the waters around Great Britain were a war zone and that German naval vessels would sink any ship, whether it be a military vessel or civilian ship, in that area without warning. By early April of 1915, German ships had already sunk over 30 sea vessels around the British Isles. On April 17th of 1915, the Lusitania left Liverpool and arrived in New York on the 24th. The ship then prepared for the return journey to England. In the meantime, the German embassy ran ads in dozens of American newspapers warning of the dangers of traveling the Atlantic crossing to Britain. Nonetheless, on May 1st, 1915, the Lusitania departed New York City, heading for England with 1,265 passengers and a crew of 694. Across the Atlantic in the Irish Channel, the German submarine U-20 was patrolling the waters off the Irish coast. The German U-boat, the U standing for Unterseeboot, or undersea boat, was a formidable force in the naval war of World War I. As the war began, Germany had a U-boat fleet of 20 submarines, but by the end of the war, the fleet grew to 140 vessels. These U-boats would be responsible for sinking almost 5,000 ships during the war. U-20 and its crew of 32 men had been sighted by British naval vessels several times and had in fact sunk another ship only days before firing on the Lusitania. As the Lusitania approached British waters on May 6th, the captain of the Lusitania, William Thomas Turner, received 2 messages from British patrols warning of submarine activity in the area. Captain Thomas adjusted the course of the ship to avoid areas he had been warned about. By the early morning of May 7, 1915, the Lusitania was about 120 miles off the southern tip of Ireland. As the ship came closer to the coast of Ireland, U-20 spotted the Lusitania shortly after 1 o'clock in the afternoon and submerged, slowly approaching the massive ship. By 2 o'clock, the Lusitania was only 11 miles off the coast of Ireland, and U-20 was only 700 meters off the ship's starboard bow. At 2:10, the order was given to fire a torpedo at the ship. The torpedo struck the Lusitania right behind the bridge of the ship. The explosion caused the ship to list back and forth, and then a second, more powerful explosion occurred. Within minutes, the electrical power of the ship went out, leaving hundreds below deck in darkness and many without access to elevators to escape. By 2:15, an SOS call had been sent out, and Captain Turner gave the order to abandon ship. The tilt of the ship as it was sinking created chaos, as many of the lifeboats were swinging too far out for passengers to reach, while others capsized when lowered into the sea. Of the 48 lifeboats on the ship, only 6 were successfully lowered with passengers. The ship sank in only 18 minutes, taking hundreds of passengers trapped inside down with it. Hundreds of other passengers clung to floating debris in the 52-degree water of the Irish Channel. It did not take long for hypothermia to set in, and hundreds more died. In total, 1,197 people perished on the Lusitania, including 128 American citizens. The response for the United States was restrained, as the nation was not prepared to enter World War I. President Woodrow Wilson called on Germany to stop its policy of sinking ships without warning, and also told Germany that any further attacks would be considered, quote, deliberately unfriendly. The British were extremely upset at the American response, feeling that America should now aid them in the war, but it would not be for almost another 2 years before the United States would officially enter World War I. So with that, hopefully you learned something, and thanks for watching.